Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are looking under the hood of the world's most recognizable media and entertainment brands. In 2026, staying relevant means managing massive data complexity while moving at the speed of AI, a challenge that requires both technical brilliance and a long term strategic vision. Joining us today is Mike Rudolph, Vice President of Innovation at REDspace. With a deep engineering background, Mike leads the charge in building scalable, AI driven solutions for giants like Warner Bros., Discovery, Paramount, Sony, and SoundCloud. He is here today to discuss how to drive AI efficiency and the art of building decades long client relationships. So, before further ado, let's welcome this very special guest. Mike, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, Mike, RedSpace is the technical engine for some of the world's largest streaming and media platforms, right? Where AI is no longer a luxury, but a necessity for scale. So let's start by understanding what challenges do organizations face when adopting AI for real efficiency?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, what's a little bit different around AI compared to adopting, your typical innovation that we see in the tech industry is that it's not just you buy the tool and put it in front of as many people as possible. That will get you so far. That will get you, incremental change, and individuals will surely find productivity gains. But when you talk about like organizational efficiencies, it really
Mhm.
comes down to redesigning workflows from the ground up to that lean on AI in new ways, and giving yourself both the permission and curiosity to explore what that looks like.
Definitely. It's a very interesting phase in each of our lives, right, with artificial intelligence. And turning AI into a practical tool for efficiency is what separates modern leaders from those, just chasing the latest trend. So thank you for that. Now, let's explore how long term partnerships have shaped Red Space's 25-year journey. So, when we talk about long term partnerships, having a similar mindset or an overall vision is very important, right? So, from your extensive experience, how do companies build long-term partnerships, instead of short-term projects?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've been in business 25 years.
Yeah.
We have a team of two for our sales. So a lot of our business comes through long-term partnerships and
Uh-huh.
and referrals and recommendations. So it really starts by treating it as a partnership. A project as a technology vendor really comes down to delivering on a scope, whereas a partnership, and what we strive on is delivering outcomes. So the ways that we've been successful with it is putting our engineers directly in
Mhm.
the communication line with the customers, focusing on what are they trying to succeed, and also understanding that these large media organizations, one project is not going to tip their goals. It's
Mhm.
incremental projects over time, and so we
Yeah.
really want to understand what are they looking to achieve, and starting small and building, so that the end of the project becomes a matter of lessons learned that we carry on to the next,
Mhm.
versus here's your packaged up deliverable, and please come back to us again. I think those are kind of the key things. One of our company values at RedSpace is simply we succeed when our customers succeed, and we embody that every day in communications with them.
Wow, very beautifully articulated. Prioritizing long-term value over short-term wins is, clearly the secret to building a quarter century of client loyalty. Amazing. Let's now discuss your advice for the next generation entering the fast changing tech industry. Now, when we talk about skills that are necessary, right? The conversation has changed with AI now into the picture because majority of the skills you can still learn, right? Um, but again, from a business perspective, what skills do you recommend that young professionals should prioritize for their careers in tech today? And I want you to tell me the hard skills and also the soft skills that has nothing to do with the technical part of it.
Gotcha. It still comes down to critical thinking and institutional knowledge, right? When
Mm-hmm.
you look at what we've gained in terms of building capabilities with large language models, they will amplify whatever you provide it. And so what I mean by that is they will amplify institutional knowledge very quickly and very efficiently. They will also amplify, and you'll see this in your results, a lack of fundamental knowledge. And so my advice to anybody, regardless of which stage in your career, is to, focus on becoming AI native, but not AI dependent.
Yeah.
And however you want to, choose to learn those fundamental skills, call those the hard skills for whatever
Mm-hmm.
your technical discipline is. Like choose that. And so for some people it looks different. I talked to some, junior engineers where that's, turn off AI on Thursday nights and write stuff by hand. I'm
Yeah.
certainly that. On the soft skill side, use AI to evaluate your curiosity much faster, rapidly accelerate that. Obviously, there's a soft skill advantage around, evaluating like emails you're sending and stuff like that. But really freeing up, your technical aptitude so that you can focus on like commercialization intent, critical
Mm-hmm.
thinking, carrying things through to completion. Those would be the soft skills that I'd say
Yeah.
like be curious and open-minded, because that's actually where, following back to your first question, are where you could get a lot of opportunity to rework workflows from the ground up.
Again, a very balanced answer because, uh, you know, um, when you talk about skills specifically, a blend of both these things has to go in hand, right? And building on what you
Yeah.
just said, here's a special message for all of our listeners, specifically to all the aspiring tech leaders watching. In 2026, code is a commodity, but problem solving is a premium. Don't just learn a language, learn how to think. The giants of media and sports don't just need people who can build an app, they need people who can simplify massive data complexities and think 3 steps ahead of the market. AI is a tool, but your creativity and your ability to see the big picture is your real value. Dive deep, stay curious, and remember that the best tech always serves a human experience. Now, coming back to you, Mike, balancing technical execution with creating thinking, as you mentioned, is the ultimate cheat code for a successful career in modern engineering. Great. Now, let's look at how REDspace helps global brands modernize their digital media infrastructure. So, what is the first step to modernizing cloud architecture without disruption, Mike?
Great question. I mean, it it comes down to it's not about doing a migration as the
Mm-hmm.
first step. It's about getting visibility into what are you doing today? What are the non-negotiables of what are the workflows that absolutely cannot break?
Mm-hmm.
And AI can really help accelerate with that, with diving in and understanding what's going on within an infrastructure. Once you have that, it becomes a matter of prioritization and risk balance on, again, what are the incremental changes that we can make, and
Mm-hmm.
continuously measuring, are we achieving the initial goals that we set out to do? And sometimes those goals change, and that's okay, but it requires the autonomy to go back and revisit the backlog
Mm-hmm.
whenever that may happen. I mean, with the pace
Yeah.
of innovation with these companies, that's always a constant. But visibility, dependency mapping is always the first step into trying to modernize. And hey, like nobody does a mass migration all at once. Take it incrementally,
Yeah.
and take it balanced.
Wow. Ensuring a seamless transition to the cloud is, at the end of the day, what allows a global brand to scale smarter and stay ahead of the competition. So great there. Now, let's do a little time travel. Imagine if I were to give you a time machine right now and say we were to go 5 or 10 years into the future. When you get out of the time machine, how exactly do you envision the media industry changing or evolving?
Great question. Love the analogy with getting in and out of the time machine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'll play prediction on this. Two things are going to happen both from a feature set perspective and an infrastructure perspective, and they're going to collide right in the middle in terms of media consumption experiences.
Hmm.
I'll start with the infrastructure. Latency is a huge thing that broadcasters and media companies like deal with. And so we've had the ability to do, low latency, and I'm talking like sub 1 second from,
Mhm.
broadcast to edge, glass to glass, but not in a scalable way that's actually affordable for most organizations. And
Yeah.
you see the demand online today of these streaming events. They're getting larger and larger. And so we're on the cusp of reaching, architecture that can support that at scale. And then we pair that. So now you've got, ultra low latency video being delivered reliably. You pair that with AI on the feature set. And I don't mean, AI enables, cheaper content production. I mean the ability to drive AI features within your experience, leading to hyper personalization. If you think
Mhm.
about how you use media consumption today, you're having a conversation, whether you recognize it or not, with the application. And I don't mean
Yeah.
just by text or voice. Simply browsing what content you want to watch is a conversation that should be informing what you're
Mhm.
looking for. And so AI is really giving us the capabilities to drive, unique viewing experience, whether it's surfacing information or interactions that you would like to see, or simply surfacing content that's more relevant to the mood that you're in today because you just went through, a series of things at work or out with your friends, and now your mood is completely different.
Mhm.
So really focusing on hyper personalization, I think, is what I would see, jumping out 5 years. And a big dependency on that is real time information streams. So the low
Mhm.
latency certainly supports that.
Wow, hyper personalization, media, AI. That's such an interesting intersection, right? And you've painted quite a picture there. The future definitely looks very promising, and we can't wait to unleash what the future holds. I'm loving this conversation, and definitely I'd love for you to be back maybe for an in studio episode that we do the next. But for
Yeah.
now, before we let you go, Mike, if there's one final piece of advice that you want our leaders to, stay with, leave by, because when it comes to AI, majority of them are still overwhelmed by, they don't know where to take that first leap of faith from, right? If you could whisper one thing into their ear, what would you say and why?
Okay. I'll try and keep this brief. So first, like, don't panic.
Mm-hmm.
The adoption of AI has been rapid, no doubt. The pace of which AI is getting better and better at, our everyday tasks is
Mm-hmm.
changing as well. And so if you think you're behind, the reality is you're starting off with the rest of us, because you really have to be a goldfish when it comes to, like, every 6 months you have to kind of forget everything you know. And eventually that will taper off, but right now we're certainly in that. So my recommendation would be, don't panic, buy tools. Look at workflows within your org where AI can create measurable leverage.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that requires you to create, an isolated sandbox. So a good example that I can mention is like at REDspace, we created an innovation studio so that we could control the entirety of the workflows and what we build to really allow us to lean in on the art of the possible and then
Mm-hmm.
bring that outwards into the rest of the organization, right? So creating a contained sandbox for you to be curious, experiment, play in a safe, risk-averse environment, and
Mm-hmm.
then pull outward. Focus on that versus buying all of the tools and just trying to throw the whole kitchen sink at your solution.
No, that is indeed a great reminder that innovation starts with a single step towards simplification, right? It was such a pleasure having you on the podcast, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it.
All right, that was Mike Rudolph from REDspace Inc., a masterclass in how to build the engine under the hood for global brands while maintaining the human relationships that last a lifetime. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning into the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more such resources. To learn more about how we are supporting the ecosystem, please visit the Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smbfoundation.ca. And lastly, a very special thank you to our partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMBs across Canada. I'll see you all in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.